Joe. Nobody. Nobody. Now is not the time. It's like you sense it. I need to have something else in my lap besides a you. Look, heated blankie right over here for you. Right here. Get the mic in a little better spot. Hopefully that's okay. Once Adam is through the ads, he will tell me how my audio is.
Don't know. Audio isn't working for me.
Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. Anybody
My
else?
audio isn't working for me.
All right, everybody else tell me how the audio is. Nobody.
All right, so I've gotten it working and I can hear you.
All right, cool. There's actually seven people in the stream already. My goodness, for something I advertised at like 2 p.m. Oh, 7. We lost one. So this was supposed to be a super fun, goofy stream with me and Adam and Cassidy, and we were going to be in a hotel room because we were heading to Green Bay for a friend of ours is going to be getting an award. But then I got COVID, so we're here at home. And I almost didn't test because my symptoms are so mild, but I was like, I better check just to make sure before I go around people. Yep. So I blame Alex Astor because while I have finished reading her book, I'm still editing my footage of it. And so the fact that I always seem to get COVID right around the time when I read an Alex Astor book continues to be true. And I think it's her fault somehow. Right, Adam?
Indeed, most assuredly.
It's Alex Astor's fault. She did this. Cursed by her books. Yes, Adam?
In good news, though, this allowed us to get some really excellent local ramen. And I have splurged tonight for my own morale.
Wow, look at that.
And I am drinking a green tea rice wine sake tonight.
Wow. And he also, there's an Asian store right here where the ramen place is, and he also got me some mochi because I love mochi. And I love matcha, so matcha mochi. What's anybody who likes mochi, what's your favorite flavor? I'm actually kind of fond of like just the red beans. Although I do like me like some strawberry mochi sometimes too. I feel like I can't sing at the camera right.
Odysseus Nemo says, "Hey boss, just popping in at 2 a.m. my time to wish you fun Tobying around."
We're gonna Toby so hard, everybody. We're gonna Toby like you've never Tobied before.
Nah, you're gonna Toby too close to the sun.
We might Toby too close to the sun, honestly. That could be the last one. It's just Toby in like a little rocket ship, Tobying too close to the sun. All right, Adam is back in his spot, so he can hopefully. He's also eating ramen as we speak. So if he's not keeping up with the chat, it's because he's eating ramen. I'm gonna have mine after I do the stream because I figured it was hard to eat ramen and draw Tobies at the same time.
Candybug says they like strawberry ice cream and green tea ice cream mochi.
Nice. Ice cream mochi is delicious, but it hurts my teeth because my teeth are really cold sensitive. So I'm like, this is so tasty, and also, ow. Firelight, you can probably get into your ideas, and Adam will do his best to keep an eye on them. And then I'm going to draw.
None of them will be as good as Toby close to the sun.
I'm going to start with just like I normally do with one that I had an idea for while you guys settle in, acclimate, get used to the nasally sound of my voice. We'll see if I can do this because like basically my only symptom is runny nose, and if I look down, it starts to run. So yeah, that could be fun. I hope you're all prepared for a lot of like sniffling and blowing my nose.
Pressocore has a great suggestion, which is one very small, very sad, very lonely brain cell for Toby.
just
No.
just a brain cell. I have to look at what a brain cell looks like. It's just a brain cell on the page. Nothing else, just a brain cell. I'd be like very zoomed in, like magnification times whatever.
Well, I was thinking maybe it would be like a critter, a cat, or a dog looking for its brain cell, or like one brain cell floating away.
By the way, if anybody somehow does not know what the heck we're talking about when we say this is the Toby stream, it's a reference to my first read along for the Savior's Champion and the character of Tobias, aka Toby, and how he is just dumber than a box of rocks, but also trying way too hard, which is golden retriever energy, but like not like the golden retriever boyfriend that we think of like now. This actually kind of came about before that trend. I don't know what to call it, but meme. I don't know. But Toby is just a golden retriever in that he is dumb but loyal and just trying way too hard.
Kattybug asks, "Is Toby a good boy?"
Well, I would say yes. In dog form, he is. In book form, I don't know. He does like kill people sometimes in kind of brutal ways and doesn't care too much about it. So, but I think that's Layla's influence on him. But anyway, yes, he's a golden retriever, so we usually draw him as a golden retriever. We have a lot of golden retrievers tonight, so prepare for that. I'm also open to ideas of Toby as other things, but mostly golden retriever. Toby is the one who started it all here on this channel.
How many cards do we have tonight?
7.
And you're on number 1, so we will have 6 more.
Yep.
Alright.
At least it'll be easy to color at least, because there'll just be a lot of yellow.
We had a couple people ask, "Who is Toby?" I think you'd explain that to them.
You have not seen my Savior's Champion read along. It's old and crunchy, and the audio is not very good. Or the video, actually. That's like 2 cameras ago. But it's still really fun.
No commercials. All right, so we have another suggestion. I'm catching up on the suggestions. It's an idea from last stream that they're stealing Toby curled up with cat Layla, who's probably an orange cat.
Is she an orange, or is she one of those obnoxious, like, no offense to the torties of the world, but I've had some really obnoxious torties. Like, one of those really bossy torties, you know? I think that's more what she is. Like my old cat Kinshu. Just nothing but screaming.
Prasokor says this is an insult to golden retrievers. Golden retrievers are generally likable.
But they're also dumb, loyal, and try too hard. So.
All right. Idea number 1, the first from Firelight. Toby with his gift of the Savior, aka the biggest stick he could find.
All right, I'm definitely failing to draw this. I can just, like, if my drawings suck tonight, I'll just say it's COVID's fault. I could draw it better if I didn't have COVID. That's what it is. My Toby turned out good. There's just a second element in this picture that's not turning out. I might have to put my knees up so I can like not be bending down over my page. We'll see how this goes. Because my nose is dripping.
Ooh, hidden knees.
Oh no, my knees. Everyone will see what my knees look like, and they don't usually get to see that.
Idea the second, Toby painting one of those paw print paintings. Candybug asks, is this Layla figure a girl boss who is cool, badass, oddly violent, and always right?
You know it. That pretty much exactly describes her.
Cool Imp has joined us, asking what the theme is, and it is Tobies all the way down.
It's Tobies tonight, baby.
They are starting to cook dinner. Cool Imp, I recommend ramen and sake, which is my dinner for the night.
Adam went all the way. He said it's a local ramen place, but it is, in fact, like 40 minutes away because we live in the middle of nowhere. So local is a little bit of a stretch.
Idea the third, Toby meeting Asher the skunk.
When did we decide Asher was a skunk? What would, okay, my favorite character, what was his name? What was his name? It wasn't Asher. Asher was the himbo, right? In the second book?
Don't ask me.
So I'm asking chat. Chat, tell Adam so he can tell me.
Press4 says Asher they can see as a golden retriever. Lunar Muse says Castor.
Castor, yes, my beloved. What would we make him? We could have him meeting Toby. What animal would he be? The Castor, for anyone who doesn't understand that reference, he's my beloved from the second book, where Jenna briefly, accidentally, I'm convinced it was through no fault of her own, created an interesting character and then killed him immediately because she got scared. She was like, "Oh no, he's too interesting and layered. I need to kill him off."
Firelight confirms that we did draw Asher as a skunk, and they still say Castor is a Tasmanian tiger.
I don't know about that one.
Pressacor C says Asher was the himbo bodyguard from TSS.
Yes, that's what I thought he was. I could also see him as a golden retriever now, like the way that we think of the golden retriever boyfriend now, versus like when we came up with Toby as a golden retriever. It was in the days before that meme existed, so I know there was internet back then. All right, so here's my first one. Of course, if anyone who knows me would know that I would have to pay tribute to the pig challenge. So we have Toby being chased by a pig. I tried to make the pig look mean at first, and it didn't work. So he's just a sweet piggy, which is honestly probably what they really were. Not mean pigs. But Jenna Moresi, who knows nothing about pigs, puts them in her book. And after that, anyone who doesn't know, the pig challenge is the reason that we even have read-alongs, because I got to that and I was like, this is my life now. This is so terrible. I need to share it.
Okay. Ideas you haven't heard yet are Toby in a tight shirt, all muscly Toby in a tight shirt, like the trophy hot guys on book covers. And then I think I had an idea, the fourth. Yes, idea the fourth. Toby reading The Savior's Sister, discovering Layla isn't the Savior's sister.
Toby has to read a book that he's like meta to find out that he doesn't know who his girlfriend is. It's hilarious.
Other ideas brought up so far: Toby close to the sun. One very small, sad, lonely brain cell. Toby curled up around Layla. Toby with the gift of the Savior, which is a really big stick. Toby painting a paw print painting. Meeting Asher the skunk. Muscly Toby boy in a tight shirt. And Toby reading The Savior's Sister to realize that Layla isn't the Savior's sister.
Artificially red bean flavored. Artificially, you can't just put red bean in it. Yeah, red bean paste. What makes it artificial? Anyway, I'm too easily distracted. I like the painting one, so I'm gonna start there, and we'll keep them suggestions rolling. Because I was like, that was my other idea besides the pig challenge, but I knew I had to do the pig challenge. But I was like, the painting thing is also super iconic.
Cool Imp is making a dinner after your own heart, Julian. Brown cafeteria food of chicken strips with an additional helping of mashed potatoes.
Brown cafeteria food forever!
Oh, I missed a suggestion, which is Toby cooking dinner.
Here it comes. Here comes the nose blowing.
You could mute for seconds. You have the power.
Yeah, I could. But will I? No.
Pressicor suggests that Castor could be a beaver. Points to anyone who gets that reference.
Nope. That one went right over my head.
Idea the fifth, Toby napping in the pews around the arena.
How the pews. Some people get all the references, man. So in case anybody is confused, within the Saviors Champion, one of the challenges is to show off their like special skills. And Toby is for some reason a painter, even though he is not a painter when we like meet him. He's working in the fields, so he's tan and muscular. But Toby's like, I will paint a picture of Cosima, who he thinks is the savior, and instead he just keeps fucking drawing Layla over and over again. Somehow he like goes into a fugue state or something. I don't know what happens, but he just every time he finishes the drawing, he's like, "Fuck, I've drawn Layla again," which is not something that's ever happened to me. Like I'm not sitting here trying to draw Tobies and instead drawing something else. Like I don't know how you fuck up so badly drawing one person that you just draw a different person, but Tobias can do it.
Catching up on some of the chat. Cool Imp loved the beta readers bid today.
Oh yeah, I put out a vid today about all about beta readers. Share it with your friends, everyone. Mostly because my anything that's not a read along doesn't do super well numbers wise. So share it around.
Firelight commenting on Toby's issues. He didn't even know until he read the book from Leela's POV. Not even the conversation at the end of book 1 made it stick. Didn't realize. Professor Core C says Castor equals the genius that includes the beaver. Bug. Oh, is the first of this Savior series inspired by the Hunger Games like Powerless and Light Clark?
Kind of, yes. It has a death battle in it, but it is not quite as atrociously just attempting to be Hunger Games again. It is a death battle story, but less just Hunger Games than some of the other ones we've read.
Press Force C agrees. Drawing something other than what you're trying to is straight up Looney Tunes.
Like you can definitely fail. Like if I was trying to draw something and like when I tried to draw an angry pig and it wanted to be a happy pig, like it was still a pig though. It was just a bad pig. It wasn't like I drew a whole other animal.
Candybug agrees and adds that Toby really must have only one brain cell.
Just the one, poor man.
And Firelight suggests, to be honest, if Layla were a dog, she'd be a husky.
She would. Very intense. She'd probably be one of those blue-eyed huskies that creep me out. They just stare right into your soul.
Coolin says they're still getting readers while they query. Probably not the best idea, but I'm trying not to write until February. Fill your time with editing and chasing down more betas.
Yeah. Hey, if your book changes substantially enough, you can re-query it.
Might need a new intro snippet that you send to them, but
I've heard that you can say something like, "This was heavily edited since the last time I sent you," or something like that. Like, I don't know. You definitely look up online how you should phrase it, but
So, idea the sixth. Toby watching his boss scuttle towards him.
his boss scuttle towards him.
So, Firelight, what is Toby's boss?
He has a boss in the fields when he's working in the fields there for like 10 seconds.
Lunar Muse suggests that the boss is a crab, but I'm not sure if that's what Firelight had in mind. Pressicorsi asks if we're turning the Savior's characters into animals, then can Brontes be a Brontosaurus?
I don't know, man. I think brontosauruses are too cool for that.
Oh, Pressicorsi is simply referencing Jenna's bizarre choice of synonyms for walk, i.e., scuttle.
Yes, I wondered if that was a reference to like because nobody walks anywhere. They always got to do some weird movement. The women all like float and glide and sashay.
And Firelight confirms because characters keep scuttling around. Firelight also has an excellent memory for your streams, for they share that we drew Baratus as a frog.
Oh, I think I remember that. Got a better memory than me though. Probably people remember my read-alongs better than me, or making references that even I don't get.
We have another suggestion for Toby with logs on his shoulders.
I think we've already drawn. Did we drew? Yeah, we drew Toby with Layla on his shoulders that one time.
Cosima wafts everywhere.
Yeah, she wafts a lot.
Oh, Brontes as the frog was part of the frog stream.
Frog stream. All right. Well, here we go. We got Toby desperately attempting not to draw his girlfriend, and in fact, drawing his girlfriend every time
with his paws.
with his paws. He's very talented golden retriever. All right. Let me see. What do we want to do next year? I feel like one of them grabs my attention, but can I remember which one it was?
Too close to the sun. One very small, sad, lonely brain cell. Toby curled around Layla. Toby with the gift of the Savior, which is just a big stick. Toby meeting Asher the skunk. Muscled Toby in a tight shirt.
Oh, Firelight was asking what are his drawings. It's hard to see. They're all little cats. Some of them were like nude.
Toby reading the Savior's sister. Toby cooking dinner.
Okay, I think I'm gonna do Toby reading the Savior's sister.
Toby
that one entertains
napping
me.
the pews. Toby watches his boss scuttle towards him. And Toby with logs on his shoulder.
All right, I just said what I was gonna do. Oh, reading the Savior's sister. Do I want to do another just dog Toby, or do I want to do Anthro Toby for reading the Savior's sister? What do we think? I'll let you guys kind of muddle that out for a sec.
Dog, straight up dog Toby or Anthro Toby? By the way, Firelight does want to confirm that this is Toby is discovering that Layla isn't the Savior's sister as they are reading.
Because while reading.
Let's see. We got. Wait, Firelight mentions they don't think they've done Anthrotobies yet. Lunar Muse votes dog. Everyone else was Anthro, but not Toby. Okor votes dog because Toby is not something they need to see. And Candybug thinks Dog Toby will be funnier as well.
All right, I think Dog Toby is winning.
Dogs is definitely winning.
So if you have not seen my Savior's Champion read along, what was your first read along on my channel? Or even if you have, what was your first read along on my channel? Oh, that doesn't look like
I'll give the chat a minute to get those answers in for what their first read along was, and I'll catch up on some of the other things that I missed. Candybug asks, so in this Savior series, every woman is a ghost or a bird, and all the men are some kind of crab insect creatures. Interesting. I'm learning so much about the Savior series.
Just in time for the next book, whenever the heck that comes out.
And Firelight mentions Layla on a shoulder was Chipmunk Fling with Pig Layla on his shoulder.
Yeah, I remember that.
Coolin mentions in one of their books, an alchemist seems to float around, but it's a combination of a long robe and walking around from her high school band days. Candybug says in response to your earlier drawing, "Paint me like your French cats, Toby." All right. Cool Imp's first read along was probably Light Lark.
Oh, dang.
And Prasokor C says the Savior, TSA, the Savior's, I don't know what TSA stands.
TSA is the Savior's Army, which is the new one that'll come out eventually.
Was there first. I'm one of those OGs the kids are always talking about.
I'm assuming they meant the Savior's Champion, which is the first.
TSC instead of TSA. Okay.
Yeah.
Candybug says, for me, it was The Night and Its Moon, or that totally not Witcher series fanfic. Lunar Muse says it was the Savior's sister.
Which is basically the Savior's Champion again, but I make different jokes.
I mean, you're not the one that wrote the same book.
Same book twice? Not yet.
KJ Amadon asks, does Eve the Awakening review count? That was my first video I watched of yours.
That one's just a review, technically not a read along, but that's old school.
It is impressive that you remember that was your first video. I don't remember the first video of any YouTube personality that I've watched. Firelight shares that their first was Savior's Champion. You were working on Zenith when I started. And yes, Prasokor C edits the response to TSC. All right. At this point, I should be prompting the chat to be more conversationalist, but I have such nummy ramen to finish eating, so.
I'm just sketching away here, not doing much chatting.
Firelights? My first was Eve, which led me to the read-alongs. So I think they're implying that they also remember the first video of yours they watched, which was about Eve.
Yeah, that was Jenna's first book, which she has since taken down because, you're allowed to do that. But it was her first book ever, and she published it and was giving writing advice, and it's like, all right.
And KJ says the Savior's Champion was their first read along, and they said, "I'm weird. What can I say? I remember that kind of stuff." I was going to say an impressive memory, not weird, but I mean, I like weird too. Weird's a compliment to too. Firelight says they feel like Eve was a lot of people's first read along. As the how you phrase that gives me the image that people that don't even watch Julian, their first read along experience was Eve as well. Other people,
even though Eve itself was just a regular book review, but I think people got curious about that, and then they were like, "We need to see more of this Jenna Moreci chick," and then they found their way over to my other read alongs. At least I've almost completely cornered the market on those books. I know other people have covered them, but not as many as I've covered like Powerless and stuff.
Candy Bug, it is not a cold broth ramen, and I am indeed not letting it get cold. It is nearly finished, in fact. Pressacor says, "I wonder how many people found the read-alongs. We're originally just looking for anyone willing to say how bad Jenna's books were."
Like, please, I can't be alone. Am I crazy? No, you're not. Just keep adding to this picture. I don't know if any of it's helping.
KJ says they'd rather be weird than impressive. Less expectations attached to weird.
You could be impressively weird. All right, here we go. Here's old Toby himself discovering things about his girlfriend he never knew by reading the book.
All right.
Very dismaying for him, you see.
That is the third.
That is the
postcard.
third.
We've got 4 more left to go.
Sure do.
I will review the suggestions we have so far. And
I think I'm probably gonna do Toby Too Close to the Sun as my last one.
Okay.
Because it feels like a fitting last one.
We will save that. So we technically have 3 more suggestion chances to be picked.
And I'm gonna eat a mochi between everyone.
Very good, very good. We have one very small, sad, lonely brain cell. Toby curled around Layla. And I can't read my own handwriting or know these characters.
I'm gonna springboard off of that one and take that in a different direction.
Are you? Is that the one you're using right now?
Yep.
All right, I will cross it off the list for everyone in the chat still listening. I'll continue. We also have the Gift of the Savior, which is just a big stick. Toby meeting Asher the skunk. Toby with the tight shirt and muscles. Toby cooking dinner. Toby napping in the pews. Toby watches his boss scuttle towards him. And Toby with logs on his shoulders. So go ahead and throw any additional suggestions you've got out there. We've got 2 more chances to be picked.
Now my eyes are starting to water. Stupid COVID. Trying to draw.
All right. Catching up on the chat. Candybug mentions, my useless superpower is remembering continuity and lore in stories. Even the ones where continuity and lore are more of a vague concept than anything concrete.
You can monetize that power, man. Be like, hey, I'm a continuity checker for your book. I'll read your book and check your continuity.
You can't make money doing that on books, though. I would love to be a continuity editor for like books and video games. But the only place you can make money being a continuity editor is in the movies, and even then,
hey,
they don't always care.
You could go on Fiverr and you could say, "Hey, I'm a continuity editor. That's what I read for. Like, I'll read your book. I charge this much per word."
Yeah, but Do people succeed in making money on that?
I don't know. Maybe. I haven't researched it. There's a niche for everything.
Coolin says, Powerless is a large series of why was this book written for me?
You're not alone. This book was written because somebody would very much like some money.
Idea the 7th from Firelight. Toby watching Julian's read-alongs. In fact, we could make it Toby forgot after reading the book that Layla was not the Savior's champion, and he rediscovers it watching Julian's read-alongs.
He's like, wait, he read the book and he's like, let me double check.
Pressacor suggests for Toby flying too close to the sun, you should be trying to fly using TSC and TSS taped to his arms as makeshift wings. Candybug mentions, I've not tried anything and I'm already out of ideas. Coolin has an idea. Toby with a confused Pikachu face.
That's just his face. I picture Toby looking like that 24/7.
Lunar Muse doesn't have an idea of their own, but they're giving an upvote to Toby with the giant stick as the Savior's gift.
Big old stick.
Candybug asks, just another question about this Savior series. Would have it been better as a standalone, like Light Lark, rather than a series?
Hard to say because we haven't actually gotten anywhere in the series yet, because rather than writing book 2, Jenna went and rewrote book 1 again from a different character's point of view. Like, maybe it'll be interesting as the series goes on. Waiting to see that happen. It definitely didn't need the book 2 that it has, but
So I think so far that means yes. Instead of having these 2 books, it should have just had one. JJ says no ideas, head empty, no brain cells came to work today. So basically just Tobying. Candybug says just like Toby, and KJ agrees. Lunar Muse is also like, if book 3 is book 2 and not book 1 again.
somebody mentioned in my writers group that I have on Discord that that Jenna Moresi is doing the equivalent of what Toby does with the drawings, where Jenna just keeps accidentally writing book 1 again. She tries to write book 2. She looks at it and she's like, God damn it, I've written book 1 again. She just keeps doing that.
Candybug, I hate it when book 2 does not either move the story or a soft reboot where it makes book 1 irrelevant or skippable. Pressacor says Savior's sister is just Savior's champion 1.5.
All right. Behold, I have drawn Toby and Layla. With Layla as Basically, my cat that I used to have, Kinshu, who did a lot of screaming, just screaming. Um, if she had a human voice, she would sound like Gilbert Gottfried. So I figured that was perfect for Layla.
All right, I'll keep an eye on the chat in case we have any last minute suggestions. We only have 2 more openings left.
All right, let's see
Yeah.
here.
One very small, sad, lonely brain cells with the gift of the Savior, which is a big stick.
Oh yeah, we got 2 votes for the big stick. Let me do the big stick.
And we're doing the big
Big stick, Toby. This is the one that I do anthro. Because it seems like it should be the dog. No, I'll do it dog.
All right. We have one last opening left, chat. If you've got any final ideas, or from some of you, if you can lure one brain cell in to get your first idea, doesn't need to be good. I'll be entertained regardless. Remaining initial recommendations: one very small, sad, and lonely brain cell. Meeting with Asher Skunk. Tight shirt Toby. Cooking Toby as he makes dinner. Napping Toby as he sleeps in the pews. Toby watching his boss scuttle towards him. Toby with logs on his shoulder. Toby watching Julian's read-alongs. And Toby confused Pikachu face. Pressicor C is like, oh, big stick. I thought you meant apparently they had something else on their mind.
No, I can't draw that. These are going out into the public. PG.
Toby as an Amazon delivery person.
That one's very random.
Hey, I said they didn't have to be good.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said it was random.
Candy asks, wait, is this Cosima figure the hate sync character?
She sure is.
Hating this, I assume from her name, girl is okay because she's made of evil in the Savior series, like lilac-haired Blair from Powerless.
She surely is. She has red hair, although we don't need to hear about that every 24/7. Say what you will about Gianna Moressi's writing, but at least she doesn't feel the need to constantly tell us what color her character's hair is. But yes, Cosima is indeed the hate sink, and she exists to be simultaneously hotter and not as hot as Layla. And she has bigger boobs than Layla, which means that she's evil. Also, again, keeping with the trend, she pursues boys, and everybody knows that women who pursue boys are evil and need to be shunned.
First-hand experience here.
Yep, I pursued Adam, and you see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Evil.
All right. I also have a hot tub Toby as another suggestion.
Tub and Toby.
All right. We've got our last one coming up. I'm trying to see. I guess I understand why we're talking so much about Savior's Champion, as it's Toby's all the way down. I'm like, we could get some other topic going.
We could. We don't have to only talk about the Savior series.
We could get some suggestions for the next read along. I think Julian is close to finishing their current one.
I am editing because everybody was like, we want long videos, and I can do that now because our internet will allow me to upload them, but they take a lot longer to edit. So yeah, don't get them as quick. But I am done reading Sky Shade.
So Skyshade is the read-along that is in editing to be completed. Any requests for the next read-along or suggestions for the next read-along?
I was really hoping that the Savior's Army would be coming out, but it's not. She doesn't seem in a super hurry to publish it. She's got like a bunch of books that she's publishing this year too. I think she's doing more nonfiction because she published that How to Write book. That was just my understanding. I haven't read it. It was just basically all the information you can get from her videos, but in book form.
Candybug is going to put Cosima in that I like to spite the narrator character category, like Blair and Cleo. Firelight mentions, then retracted, that she is doing more books this year. Too bad, Firelight, you weren't fast enough. I read it before you retracted.
Adam laughs evilly. His is an evil laugh.
As all the best laughs are. Kulin asks, who likes Dragon Riders?
I used to before certain books ruined that sort of thing for me.
Now you do Wyvern Riders instead.
Yeah. There will be Dragon Riders in my upcoming book, The Hearthkeeper's War, but they may not be our friends, or they might be, but they might not be.
Depends on what type of character you are.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an evil character who pursues men, the Dragon Riders might be your friend. Wonder, does that make gay men evil too then, because they pursue men?
No, because they are not a threat to the main girly and her love interest.
Well, they could steal the main girl's love interest away, though.
I mean, you'd think so, but the main girl's love interest is always the straightest straight guy who was ever straight.
I don't know. Caleb and Edward's fights are kind of homoerotic.
Caleb?
What?
Caleb?
Isn't that his name?
Jacob?
No, Jacob. Yeah, that's the one. Jacob and Edward's fights are somewhat homoerotic. You can feel the sexual tension
If
there.
you say so. You've only ever seen the movies, and that was years ago. You have no idea. He's talking out of his ass. He has no idea what he's talking about. Right, here's Toby with his big old shtick. I also gave him the markings on his chest that Layla gives him. He's happy. He's a happy boy. Brief happiness before they go back to making him sad and sulky.
All right. So before we get our next idea, we have to, Dragon Riders are so last year. Nowadays, it's all about Sloth Riders. Yeah, Sloth Riders are in.
They're very slowly coming to get you.
And or hanging carefully from trees.
They just, you just hear them screaming to like female sloths when they want to mate, they just scream. Maybe the female characters in these books should try that to get the guy. Just scream.
We also have Turtle Riders being popular. Turtle Riders are in as well.
Turtle Riders could go fast if you're in the water.
Or if they have a skateboard, a giant skateboard
Oh yeah.
for the turtle.
Turtle skateboard. Coming to get you. All right. I need one more idea before
So,
Toby's too close
I
to the
haven't
sun.
seen any new ideas come in, so I'll go through what I've got in reverse order. We've got Hot Tub Toby.
No. New one just came in.
Idea the 8th. Toby realizing he has to fight a dragon because in the book, the guy he fought to the death was called the Dragon.
He did indeed fight some guy called the Dragon. We can't escape the dragons. All right.
Toby, the Amazon delivery driver. Hot Tub Toby. Toby confused Pikachu face. Toby watching Julian's read along. Toby with logs on the shoulder. Toby watches his boss scuttle towards him. Toby napping in the pews. Toby cooking dinner. Toby tight shirts around his muscles. Toby meeting Asher the skunk.
Toby tight shirts.
One very small, sad, lonely brain cell Toby. My personal favorite is Sleepy Naptime Toby sleeping in the pews.
I mean, the sleepy puppies are always cute. I could do that one.
Especially you do, I don't know what the pews look like, but if like napping Toby in a really awkward, unreasonable position, as sleeping pets often do.
They look like benches because Jenna Moresi seems to have forgotten that normally pews are for churches, not arenas, and so she calls the like benches around the arena pews.
Interesting.
For which I make fun of her. She does it in both books too. She commits. She doubles down. She's never calling them benches.
Maybe Jenna's just really Catholic, dear.
I don't know. She might be religious. Does anybody know if she's religious?
Let me catch up with the chat. Candy says, To Shape a Dragon's Breath was my favorite Dragon Rider book, where it was written to have a proactive protagonist and dragons are not an afterthought in the world building. That book is To Shape a Dragon's Breath.
I have heard of it out and about, but I have not read it. I'm kind of leery of dragon books these days.
Cool Imp says in their series, the male main character is Pan, so men chasing men would be a risk to lure him away. Go.
I've decided that I'm over shadow daddies this year. If I start reading a book and it seems like there's going to be a shadow daddy, I'm going to DNF. Like, I started reading For the Wolf, and then I got to the part where it described the male lead, and he looks like all of them. They all look the same, and I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to DNF this book because I don't got the time for these identical men.
Yes, Cannibal confirms the stick of the chosen one. Candy mentions that would make the lady protags in these romance with hints of fantasy books more funny. Not better, but at least more entertaining if they scream like sloth at their love interest.
That would have fixed all of the issues with Powerless, I feel.
Lunar Muse says, sometimes a thesaurus is not your friend.
Yeah, I swear sometimes these authors nowadays are just looking up a word. They're like, I don't want to use this regular word for it. I'm going to look it up. Mistake.
Coolant shares, outside their own stuff, their favorite Dragon Riding book is Aragon.
Yeah. Sorry, fam, I got to disagree with you there. That's because I have personal beef with Christopher Paolini.
Yeah, curse him being born to publishers and stuff.
Yeah, curse him. And his mediocre dragon book. It's a very one-sided feud. He has no idea I exist, which is actually part of the feud.
All right, cool. If you want to defend your love for Aragorn, feel free to speak up and beat back at
No, everybody loves Aragorn.
Aragon?
Aragon.
I don't know.
Aragorn is Lord of the Rings.
Candy says, it sounds like the arena in the Savior series is also a church where they preach about the goods of violence.
I wish that it was a metaphor like that, but I really very much doubt that Jenna is doing anything with it, unfortunately.
Cannybug suggests, how about a Shadow Daddy as a villain?
Right? Bring back Shadow Daddies as the bad guy. Like, I think that happened in Shadow and Bone. The Shadow Daddy was actually the villain, but everybody wanted him so bad.
Coolant mentions Kai from the Powerless needs to be unrepentant. That would make it better.
Kai is unrepentant. That's the problem. But the girl is like, yeah, he's an unrepentant genocidal maniac, but not to me. Trying all these poses for all my Tobies and like mixed results.
Cannybug shares, once they retyped the documents they lost, they're still keeping the Shadow Daddy villain. Firelight is reading The Maid and the Crocodile, which is just Howl's Moving Castle in Africa, because it's the Raybar series. At least it's not a shadow daddy, though.
At least it's not a shadow daddy.
News headline: Indie author fights best-selling Dragon Rider author.
Listen, I'm small, but I'm scrappy, and he will not see me coming because he has no idea who I am. He'll just be like, "Oh, are you a fan?" And I punch him out. Be like, "This is for baby Julian." Watch your dumb book getting published.
Cool Imp does accede that the sequels were mediocre, but still sticks to, let's see, someone gave me a pronunciation. Eragon was good.
Eragon? Is that how it's supposed to be pronounced?
I don't know. I don't know how to read pronunciation symbols. They've never helped me. It's like, hey, did you have trouble pronouncing this thing in English? Here's a weirder way of writing English.
Listen, we're just out here dyslexic and struggling.
Candybug liked Eragon, sort of, but I found the side characters who were not the chosen one, but fighting to keep special Eragon alive, and a sea thief mage who kept hurting himself, and a budget of a lymph ball. Candybug, I'm confused by that. And I don't think it's just for my mispronunciations.
Oh my god, I can't get his last leg to be right. I've got him in this like goofy pose on the pews, and I can't get his last leg. So many erase marks.
Press Report does want to stand up for Polini, as they did take a break from.
Don't try to defend him.
On their craft in order to get better, which is more than I can say for the authors of the read-along.
Don't try to defend that man.
Firelight says Darkling.
He's probably a fine writer now. I wouldn't actually punch him, but like as a child, he didn't be needing to get his mediocre dragon book published. He would have been fine, just coming up like the rest of us.
Firelight mentions Darkling is what people wanted him to be, the tragic hero. They ignore that apparently the author based him off an abusive guy. In the later books, he has fans that are real World War II apologists coded.
Oh, fun.
Okay.
All right, I gave up on this last leg and just dropped it off the page. Hopefully these look enough like pews that people, well, enough like actual like benches in a arena that people will get it. It's not as fun of a pose as I wanted, but there he is. Have a little nap. I wanted to make his last leg up at a really weird angle, but I couldn't get it to look right. He looks very deformed. All right, I have to pee because I've been hydrating like a champion to get rid of this COVID. So I will be right back. I've been holding it.
Way to hydrate.
What?
Way to hydrate.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulate me for hydrating.
It's an important thing to do. All right, so we shouldn't let the camera be completely empty. I know I'm not as entertaining as Julian, but I will sit here and be on camera. And if you want to give me a hard time or ask me questions as I pour myself another drink of sake, you may do so. If Julian takes too long and you don't ask me questions, I might bore you all with talk about the game I'm designing. Hello, Firelight. Ooh, I've got my favorite cookie. It's not my absolute favorite, but I have a Cookie Monster shirt on tonight, as he is my hero. Ooh, the book. I should remember this. Oh. Shoot, I have to get my phone and look it up. It is the Empire Falling series. Julian is coming back, so she can be on camera, and I can go look up the book I'm reading, all having read to me.
Now you're taking a break from rereading A Wheel of Time?
Well, I don't. I have a couple other books that I'm finishing, but I don't go to bed to books that I'm like actively reading for the first time. A Memory Called Empire.
Oh, I've heard of that one. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard of it.
It's been a lot of fun and interesting. I've been enjoying it. It's a little slow moving, but it's still interesting.
All right, well, I'm going to draw Tobies Too Close to the Sun. Feel free to keep chatting and coming up with ideas for next month's postcard drawings.
All right. I will catch up to the chat. I've read much of this, but you can now hear it, what you missed. John Young says, hi there. How are your writing and reading so far at the start of the new year?
Writing is great. Reading is mid to bad. I've DNF'd 2 books already, beginning of this year.
Wow, we're just 2 weeks in and DNF'd
already
2 books
DNF'd
already.
2 books. One of them had a Shadow Daddy, so I'm probably DNFing that one. I might try a little bit more. And one of them was a horror book that I was in the mood for when I reserved it in October. I was no longer in the mood for now in January. That is the problem with getting books on Libby. I love getting books on Libby and my library's app or whatever, but yeah, I reserved a whole bunch of horror books in like early October because I was in the mood for horror, and they're only coming in now. So yeah, I'm trying to decide whether I want to go Outer Space Toby or like Icarus Toby.
If you do Icarus Toby, his wings have to be the books.
I know, but that means I have to draw those books, and I really don't want to do that.
So Kulin revisits your beef with Polini and says, is it entirely with him being a Nepo baby?
Yes, it is. Because we are like the same age, we're roughly the same age, and I was writing what I consider to be like my first novel right about the time that his was getting published, and I was so mad that I couldn't just churn out a book and like my parents would make sure that it got published, and I remained mad because screw Nepo babies. That's all. I will bitter forever. Julian is bitter forever.
I'm pretty sure you'd actually written a couple of books by that time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was still kind of obsessed with my first one. Like you write a first book and you're kind of obsessed with it for a while. So I was like, my fantasy book is better than his. It was not. But I was like, why isn't my mediocre fantasy book published instead of his or like his or whatever?
Because
that's because I was a filthy poor.
Okay, I need to Google when this came out so I can have a better reference context for the things you had written by then.
And I think it came out like not right when he wrote it, like he had written it a few years earlier or something like that.
It was first published in 2002. So it was published before I met you. So
yeah. I should say so. I was quite young.
So that might actually be competing with the White Rose. And if it was competing with the White Rose, I can't argue with you.
No, the White Rose was bad.
Probably not better.
No, it was not. It was not better. With good editors, maybe it could have turned into something. Like, I'm not saying that I was amazing back then, and I definitely needed to do the work to get good. But also, still nobody's bankrolling me. If somebody wanted to do that, that'd be amazing.
All right, I'm really behind on the chat because of our tangents. Candybug says, what they meant to say was that the story about Aragon's cousin, his ragtag group of underdog rebels surviving against dangerous odds of the high-budget empire was more interesting than the main story. So
ain't that always the way?
The cousin of the main character was more interesting than the main character.
I've never actually read any more of the series. I read the first book when it came out because I was like, fine, I'll see if it's any good.
Colette does mention they lost interest in Roran's story on follow-up reads and skipped the dwarf politics. John says, what if the characters with shadow powers was a mentor instead of a love interest to the protagonist?
I'll take anything except for these ridiculous identical love interests. Like, that's the problem. It's always the love interest. He always looks exactly the same. He has dark curly hair. He's usually ambiguously brown, but not always. He's super ridiculously ungodly tall, like 7 feet tall, if you ask the main heroine. And broad shoulders are always mentioned. He's always statuesque, sculpted. She's always bumping into him thinking that he's a wall. They're the same man jumping from book to book. Oh, and bonus points if he's got tattoos, swirly tattoos of some kind.
So yeah, Coolin admits that he was probably only reading half of the books since he was skipping the dwarf politics and Roran's storyline. And yeah, so Firelight asks, what books are you enjoying lately? That was, I think, to me or the chat, and I'm reading a memory called Empire. Are you enjoying any books lately, Julian?
I'm not hating the one that I'm reading now. Sorry, listening to. Let me see what the title is. It's another horror from when I was looking for horror for Halloween. It is called The Wretched Valley, and it's kind of it's pretty short. It might be a novella, and it's about this group who goes hiking and rock climbing, and it just kind of turns into a Blair Witch situation where they like can't seem to get back to the road, and weird supernatural stuff is happening. It's basically just watching this group slowly succumb to the weird supernatural bullshit of the area that they went climbing in.
KJ enjoys that I'm drinking sake in a port glass. Thank you, KJ, for telling me that it's a port glass. I just thought it was a fun glass.
We're not bougie around here, let me tell you. You should probably be drinking it in that new little cup that you got. Because I think that's what you're supposed to drink sake out of. That kind of looks like the cups my grandma, when she was deployed in Japan, she got like a bunch of like touristy stuff.
Yeah.
And she got like a bunch of those little
clay mug cup. Yeah, that would be a good one. The sake is tasty. It is floral and sweet. I think my sake that I make is better, but it's still enjoyable. I'm enjoying it, and it's a small little locally owned shop, and I'm glad to support it. But I probably spent more on dried seaweed than I did on their sake today.
Adam loves dried seaweed as a good snack.
Very nutritious. All right, let's see. Firelight asks, or says to John, I feel like people would assume they'd be a twist love interest if they made this Shadow Man a mentor instead of a love interest.
Yeah, a bunch of people would ship it, which I guess there's not really a problem with. Like, you can't really control who your readers are going to ship, but
Firelight mentions they started a memory called Empire, but DNF. And I can understand that. It is, but the middle is slow and very circular. It's kind of like keeps doing the same thing over and over again. Firelight says, are the suns Casima's endowments since he's flying too close to the sun?
I don't know. Like, what should the sun be? I'm just going to make it be a sun, but...
And Pressicor voted for Icarus, hoping you are doing the Icarus style. Coolip does understand your beef with Fellini then, sharing that their first self-published book is trash. They reread it 4 years later and saw so many mistakes. I needed at least a line edit on it.
Yeah, shamefully, my first self-published book did not have a professional line edit either, and I'm sure you can tell. I've been through it so many times myself, and I had other people go through it, but not a paid person whose job it was to do that. So it's a lot of flaws in it, but I leave it out there because I don't know why.
So I agree with you, Coolin, and Julian might as well. Forget those tall shadow love interests. We need it. What we need in fiction is a 6 foot tall Donnie Mom.
Have you met Ryoni from my book? That's what she is.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, Ryoni from The Wolf and the Hawk is exactly what you just described. Also, Sparrow from my next book is tall. I wouldn't call her a downy mommy, though. She is filled with crippling anxiety. But, but she's tall and broad-shouldered and taller than most of the men. She's fun because she's like a total himbo. Like if a woman can be a himbo, that is Sparrow, and it's great because like she gets outsmarted by people. She's just like, yeah, I am too dumb to be here. I'm sorry.
Another news flash coming in. News headline: Indie author fights TikTok fantasy author who writes too much about eggs.
Oh, which one is this? Oh, is it Lightlark? Because of all of the Yoki things. She dropped that real quick in the next book.
Candybug says, just a blonde man with sunlight powers who is also very tall would somehow be a change from the Shadow Daddy archetype.
I can't think of anything that I really want to make the sun look like, so it's just going to look like the sun.
Kulin says, for their Dami Mamas, the more they look like Rose from The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, and Merliona from Black Clover, the better.
I don't know who either of those are, but
One of the books we were talking about, Firelight thinks is on their to be read list.
So a book that I'm really wanting to read and I have reserved is, let me just hold. No, yes. It's called The Teller of Small Fortunes, and it's supposed to be like really cozy and sweet and have found family. And boy, am I in the mood for something like that. I need some good characters and some found family in my life. Instead, I'm getting all of the horror books that I wanted in October. I still have more. They're all going to come in. I'm going to be like, no, I need wholesome.
What future videos are you planning to make for your channel?
Great question. That is a great question. I'm kind of, I'm going through a slump of ideas right now. That happens. I'm not super concerned about it, but I go through idea slumps, and I've got in one right now. So
more really long read-alongs?
Yeah, I mean, whatever next book I read along, obviously there'll be more read-alongs. I just don't know what it'll be. I was really hoping that the Savior's Army would like plop into my lap right exactly as I was finishing Sky Shade, but it has not done so, which is rude of it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, my book reviews don't do well on my channel. I like doing them, but I pretty much stopped doing positive book reviews because nobody watches them. So it's always like negative, which sucks. But and then if I can think of anything that I want to talk about reading or writing wise, here he is. It's Toby. I made the sun say clues about Layla. All right, let's go back through these bad boys. So first we have my idea of Toby during the pig challenge, running from the piggy. Then we have Toby attempting to draw anything but Layla and failing. Toby learning for the first time who Layla is by reading the second book. Toby falling in love with Layla, even though she is absolutely obnoxious and screamy and violent. Toby and a big shtick, the blessing of the Savior, just a giant stick. Toby falling asleep on the quote-unquote pews, which are, in fact, just benches. And Toby too close to the sun, which is actually clues about who Layla is. He's avoiding it. It's too hot. So there we go. Those are all of my Tobies. Tobies all the way down. Tobies forever. Tobies for days. It's very fun. Anything coming in on the chat, Adam, or shall I pay attention to it my own self?
Well, I thought you could pay attention to it your own self.
That's true.
If you look back up to Cool Imp's last 2 messages, and then catch up from the chat from there. That is what I have not read.
Cool Imp's messages. Okay. Dragon Rider series is 666. Oh goodness. The only type of woman my wife truly fears me encountering. Why? Because she would pick you up in her strong arms and carry you away. That's the dream. That is the dream. Mariolina is my waifu. I do not know who that is. Yes, the Wretched Valley, let me double check the title, is the book that I'm currently reading, which I don't think I actually have updated on my Goodreads because I started it like yesterday. This Wretched Valley, and it is just very, very reminiscent of Blair Witch. Just a group of dumbasses going into nature when they shouldn't, and supernatural bullshit happening to them. Prakosaur, I'm not doing that video, man. I hate to tell ya.
I mean, for a big enough Patreon donation.
I mean, you want to bankroll me? I'll say anything. No, I won't say. That's a lie.
Prakosaur C is your favorite author on the Citadel.
I'm Commander Shepard. Give me a discount. Let's see. Oh, you like my book reviews, positive or negative? Yay. I like making positive book reviews. I really do like to praise books sometimes, but I don't like watching positive book reviews either, which is like the bad thing. I know it about myself, but like for me, if I see a reviewer that I know has similar taste to me and they say, I really liked this book, I'm like, say less, and I go put it on my TBR, and I don't need to watch their whole positive review of it, because like them saying they like it is enough of a positive review for me. So like, I get it. I get why we don't like positive reviews as much as we like negative reviews, and also negative reviews are usually funnier. Let's see. Who's an awful person who wrote great novels? Neil Gaiman or Brandon Sanderson. I mean, there's lots of awful people who have written great novels. Depends on who you ask. Not every book is for everybody. Fortunately, I was never a big Gaiman fangirl, so this latest thing is not destroying me as much as it's destroying other people. But seriously, if men could stop being awful for 10 seconds, that would be great. I need Michael Sheen to never ever do anything awful or have done anything awful. Please. He's my last bastion of hope that there are men who can be good. Michael Sheen, it's you. It's down to you, man. Let's see. We can go through a loser's redemption round where books that previously failed to get voted on as read-alongs get a second chance. We could try that. I'm considering it. I stopped putting up positive reviews. You recommended a bunch of books hoping you'd like them. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you're my patron and you tell me to read it for review, whether I like it or don't, I will review it unless you ask me not to. So like I will do positive reviews of a book that somebody recommends me to read and review on Patreon. That for sure will still happen. All right, I keep losing my spot. All the Tobies. My wife is assertive, but I'm not sure what I would do if my 0.0000001% potential ideal woman came along. Yeah, I mean, Adam knows that if I encountered a muscle mommy who could like pick me up in her strong arms and carry me away like a princess, that it might all be over.
Indeed.
It might all be over. Firelight says I should do a review video about how great their short stories are. I need to read more of your short stories. I really do. I need to read more short stories in general. Like everybody, I don't read enough short stories. Think about positive review. I don't want to spoil myself if the book is something I would like. Exactly. I'm like, if it's a person I know we have similar tastes, like honestly, I don't watch too many of Reads with Rachel's positive reviews because if Reads with Rachel is like, I really like this, normally I'm like, all right, well, it's at least going on my TBR. I don't know if it's going to the top, but it's at least going on there to check out later. And don't tell me any spoilers, and now I don't want to know. There's another reviewer that I watch, whose name I can't remember, where I'm like, don't tell me, I want to get it now. They read a lot of thrillers, and I'm like, okay, don't tell me anything. Shut up. I need to read it. Let's hope 2025 is better than last year. I mean, it's not shaping up real great so far. Not loving it so far. Maybe it'll front load and the rest will be better. I like watching people love things, but only if I like it or am ambivalent. Yeah. You still want The Cabin? I'd be happy to read The Cabin if anyone would tune in. Neil Gaiman was influential in the comic book industry with Sandman, even though I've never read his books. His works affected something I liked and I've read. Yeah, that's the other problem is like with these authors behaving badly or horribly or horrifically. Not only it's not just their books, like they often have like shows and movies and stuff that has been touched by other people who maybe aren't awful, and then you have to wade through that entire mire of like, okay, well, so and so wrote a shitty book, but now there's like a movie that I love based on the book, and all of the good people who worked in that movie didn't know that the person was shitty at the time, and it's like, it's really difficult to ethically consume. It is incredibly difficult. That's why I'm just like, I'm just not going to pay money. That's like basically my baseline is like, I'm not going to pay money for it anymore. So if I can get it from the library, I will. If I can get it secondhand, I will. If I can maybe put on a little tricorn pirate hat, I will. For bad people. Firelight, didn't I read one of yours? Didn't I like developmentally edit one of yours, or am I having a stroke? But I feel like I've read at least one of your short stories, and I know you have like some published ones that I need to like in anthologies, and I need to get off my ass and actually read. I like negative reviews; they're definitely some of my favorites. But some reviewers can't even stand to watch their positive ones. Your positive ones I like almost as much as your negative one. Thank you. I try to keep them interesting, and like even if I love something, and I mean love something, I can still find the flaws in it. I don't see that as a problem. Some people are like, if you love something, there will be no flaws in it. You must not see a single flaw. And I'm like, that not me, babes. I can see like if you come at me and like that thing you like, Julian, here are the flaws. I'll be like, yep, I agree. Those are the flaws. They just don't deter me. Yet libraries are your friend. Exactly. I've reached the point with read-alongs where I don't care what you read. I like it because you make it entertaining. That's the goal. That's the goal. And hopefully I'm never really reading anything that my viewers were like hoping to read themselves most of the time. Oh, Lunar Muse, I developmentally edited yours? Okay. And Firelight. Okay. I've developmentally edited a few people's stories. I forget sometimes. I've edited for a lot of people.
Julian
so.
does not have the memory for the books she's edited that some of you all have for Julian's streams.
I try really hard. I've got multiple books that I'm doing in sections because like one of the things that I'll do for people is like if they can't afford the whole book at once, which is fair, I'll be like, hey, send me however much you can afford to send me. So I've got like multiple books that I'm doing in sections right now and like trying to hold on to all of that information for sometimes months at a time. Between when the person is ready for me to read the next section. Like, I love doing this and being able to offer this, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm going to forget a detail. And I'm going to look like an idiot when I'm like, why didn't this happen? And the author is like, it did. Dummy. It's bad. It's good that it's something that I can do for people, but also I live in fear that I'm going to forget like a key detail and harp on that detail in my notes. And then the author will be like, but this, and I'll be like, oh, you're right. I'm dumb. Yeah, you learned a lot about Quicksilver from Reads with Rachel. Me too. Me too. Those reviews were fun. I just watched the one with her and her husband and laughed my ass off the entire time. Those people who do not know how to manage their water because they assume everyone was too busy drinking alcohol, including the narrator. Yeah, the one with Carlos, where he suggested that everyone was just dehydrated and drunk as the reasons why nobody made logical sense in that book. Yep, that's my headcanon. Fab Money, I would have you read my book, Dragon Rider Story. I mean, I can do it in sections if you want to try that, or your first 5K for only $25. Ooh, not fighting a war. Interesting. I need to just write a novel, even though I don't have the time I want for it. Yeah. You don't make notes for yourself or summarize it. I mean, I do and I don't. And a lot of times the authors will be kind and send me a quick summary of what I've read so far because like they're going to summarize it better than me and my memory. But yeah, I mean, there's notes. There's notes involved. But I'm going to miss stuff. I'm still going to miss stuff. The best way, honestly, is for the authors to send me a quick summary of what I've read before because they know, like, better than I do what are, like, important details that I need to make sure I remember. All right. I should probably finish off for tonight, everybody, but it has been great chatting with you all. With me and my stuffy nose here. You can't see Nigel, but he is, like, just laying really weird, honestly, next to me.
Buried in the blanket near the knee.
He's like doing this thing with his legs stretched out. I don't know, he's weird. Did you hear him? I don't know if you could hear him. But all right, Adam's here to say the goodbye. So, everyone, we shall now goodbye. Are you ready for the goodbye, Adam?
Always ready.
3, 2, 1, bye. Where's the ending stream?